Hello and welcome. I'm Adele Gauthier from Breast Cancer Foundation NZ, and tonight we're talking about coping with Christmas. Before we get started, some housekeeping. If you have any technical issues, you can type details of your problem in the chat box at the bottom of the screen and our support team will get in touch. Or you can call the number you'll see there and enter the passcode to get help. If you have any sound problems, you might find it better to dial in by phone while watching on your computer. So listen on the phone. You'll see some instructions how to do that at the bottom of your screen. You can use the chat box during the webinar to ask questions, which we'll get to later, and you can also chat to other people there. Don't worry about missing out on anything while you're chatting. The webinar is being recorded and it will be on our website in a couple of days' time. So tonight we're talking about coping with Christmas when you're going through or recovering from cancer treatment, when you've got a lot more on your mind than what to feed Santa's reindeer. We have three panellists who are going to share with you tonight: Natasha Holland, people interpreter Alison Mooney, and psychotherapist Jane Tucson. First, we're going to hear from Natasha. She was diagnosed with breast cancer last year, so she's coming up to her second Christmas post-treatment. Natasha, tell us how having breast cancer affected you and last Christmas and what is or isn't different this year.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Natasha and I was diagnosed with stage 2 HER2 positive cancer in February 2017, Valentine's Day to be exact. I was 41 at the time. I had two kids that were 7 and 9 at the time, my husband Troy and our dog Cooper, who actually decided he didn't like me when I got cancer. I found the lump by random pain I received one day in bed. It was enough, it felt like someone had tasered me. Not that I've been tasered, but it was enough for me to go, something's not right. I followed my instinct eventually. It took a couple of weeks because you hear people saying, you know, boobs are lumpy, period's due, and I never would have ever thought that I would have been getting cancer. 2 weeks later, I had a left breast mastectomy, 20 weeks of chemo, 3 weeks of radiation, and an additional 13 weeks of herceptin and perjuta. And I decided personally at the time not to do reconstruction. I just wanted to deal with getting through what I needed to get through. The journey was a lot harder than I thought it would be, and I was very grateful to have a great support crew around me. So that in itself is always a very interesting learning curve, learning to say yes for help and just not suffering the disappointment of people you think might be there that aren't. So coming into my first Christmas was a real battle for me, not only physically due to the nausea and fatigue, but emotionally and mentally. Christmas is a time that you're around all your family and spend a lot of time reminiscing about the year that you've just been through, and emotions are high and there are lots of tears. Christmas Day was also the day I rocked out without a beanie. The Easter Bunny took my hair and Santa brought it back. Christmas for me was always about family and being together, presents and turkey. This year was going to be about the kids, no stress, and when I needed my next session tutor. I was always the organiser, the host, the present finder, the dealing with the requests. The list go on, as I'm sure you can all imagine. Dealing with difficult family members is tricky, especially when they're not on your family side. But that was not going to happen this year because I just didn't have the strength or the mental capacity to deal with it. I may have looked okay on the outside, but inside I was really struggling. And if you can't see cancer, then people don't understand. So what we decided was to get out of Auckland. It was a great way to relieve the stress. We decided to go to the beach and have a laid-back Christmas. Very handy also to get rid of the unexpected and unwanted extended family. I wanted to be relaxed and with close friends and family and just not to worry about the stressful stuff that Christmas brings. I wanted no secret Santas, I just wanted kids' presents and turkey. By removing ourselves from the hustle and bustle of Auckland, it was great for the stress levels. Learning to say no was also very key. It meant that we were not pulled in all directions and you could pass off all the responsibilities that you didn't need to have. I broke the usual tradition of having a Christmas dinner and made it to a late lunch, and I will definitely be carrying that one on because it was absolutely fabulous. I found I did a lot of online shopping for the kids. I did Kmart, Great Ideas, Rebel Sport, Mighty Ape, Grab One, even the ideas that they had were awesome, not necessarily if you wanted to buy it. Sometimes I would print out what I wanted and send somebody to the shop, which wasn't always a great idea, but, you know, it was a chance. By doing it online, I could do small amounts at a time. If I was tired, I could go on, finish it, come back later. But I did a lot of lists as well, so if you wanted to get out of the house, you go to the shop and you knew what you were buying, so you weren't sort of mulling around the shops thinking, what can I buy, because that's just a disaster when you're tired. I did also a lot of online food shopping, whether it was click and collect or delivery. Click and collect was great if you didn't have the strength to go out, but you wanted to go and pick it up. It was free and just easy. You got the specials that you wanted. I know that flicking through flyers can sometimes be annoying, but it was a great way to see what was on special, add it to your shopping list, and away you go. I had a few friends that also did my food bag, which was also really good. They could delegate to people what they wanted for food, meat, salads, and it wasn't on one person to do everything. And they said it was amazing, so it just took the stress off one person. Even though we're away, we had people around us that were important and we wanted to spend the day with, people that understood that if you needed to go and have a lie down and just disappear for a while, they understood. Now, going through what we've been through has been a really hard journey, and I think it puts a lot of things into perspective and gives us the guts to say no. Well, it certainly did for me. So just to give you a couple of hot tips, say no, delegate as much as you can, get out of town if you can, online food shopping, my food bag, Whoop, lists and more lists, online present shopping, and move dinner to a lunch, definitely key. I hope you all have a great Christmas and see you in the new year.
That's great. Thank you so much, Natasha, for sharing that with us. And there are lots of great ideas that I will myself. Thank you. It was cool. Now we're going to hear from Alison Mooney. Alison describes herself as a people interpreter, which I'm sure you'll agree sounds very intriguing. Ali, how do we interpret those tricky people that we just know are going to make Christmas more difficult?
Well, thank you for asking that question. And we've just heard from Natasha on how the stresses can come. You know, stress for us without any treatment and going through a hard time. And that just exasperates the whole situation. So I'm going to bring to your awareness people. And I think this is going to help us all in terms of understanding each other. Have you got the slide up? Oh, sorry, yes. All right. So apparently the experts tell us that in our DNA we have this thing called personality, and it's the thing that trips us up the most. And you'll have around your table different people with different ideas and different challenges and expectations on the day. And so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to find out who you are. I think it's good to start here, what your needs are. So if we could look at the next slide, we're going to put a little profile up there. Now, there are 3 descriptive words in each of those quadrants. Which one are you most? Are you more the enthusiastic talker funny, or are you more the easygoing diplomatic patient? Or are you more assertive, decisive, productive, or thoughtful, decisive, and detailed and tidy? Now, we're usually more than one, but for the sake of tonight, we're going to look at the extreme of all 4 types. So just remember which quadrant you sit in, top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left. All right, let's put some flesh around this now. The first one is, the top left is the playful. Playfuls, their strength is that they are relationally strong, and their desire is to have fun, to create, bring life into lifeless situations. And with that in mind, these people come into your home and they're over you. They love to talk. You hear them before you see them, and they're very stylish and they love style and pizzazz. And we're going to find out some of the things that challenge them as well. So you might have in your life somebody like that. You might be like that. So let's talk about the strengths, and then we'll go through and process this a little bit more. So that's the playful strength, relationally strong. The next one is the precise. They are procedurally strong. They like structure, they like order, and they like systems. And their desire is to get it right. So So can you imagine when you're going through treatment, when things don't quite go according to plan, this can be so overwhelming for this type of person. So their strengths, procedurally strong. We need them in our world. They get things done and ordered. Now the third one is the peaceful. The peaceful are the easygoing, and let's hope you sit by one of these on Christmas Day because they listen to you. You're going to see the next speaker and she'd be very much that way inclined as well. And we need one of these people in our world. You might be like that, but there are challenges for you when you're unwell as well. So these people internally strong, they just say it is what it is and they ride the hard things. They're brilliant at that. And their desire is no conflict. So that's important that you understand the worldview of that person. The last one is our powerful. Another doers, excuse me, and their strength is that they are externally strong. You know they're in a room, they have a strong presence, they say what they think, and they speak short to the point logic. They just don't mess with people and they don't like long dissertations. You just got to get up front and do things possibly the way they like to do it. You might be like one of those yourself. Can you imagine when you're unwell, when you like to be in charge? Those are the challenges that we have. So the playful, they're the talker, while the peaceful, the precise, sorry, is the thinker, the peaceful is the observer, and the powerful is the doer. Thank you. Now, of course, there are blends, and most often we're a blend of something else. And I'm just not going to talk too long to that, but you can be a natural blend of a playful powerful or a powerful precise, precise peaceful, peaceful playful. Those are the natural blends. You can learn the others, which are the opposing, a playful precise, but you can't be born that. You can't be born powerful, peaceful. We're not going to allude to that tonight. I want to get on to the real nitty-gritty, the meat for you on Christmas Day. So, thank you. Next slide. When we don't feel 100%, that's the challenge. You see, playfuls love being with people. And can you imagine when you're not well, the people have to come to them. That's overwhelming for them. That spells to them isolation. They don't like that. For the precise, they love being organised. And can you imagine when they can't keep up, keeping the house going and keeping things in order, they feel a sense of overwhelmness. There's not even a word called overwhelmness, but they feel totally overwhelmed by the fact that they haven't got things done in order. That's really a struggle. And they do play a lot of mental gymnastics in their mind. Oh, if I'd done that or had I done that? And so they internalise a lot, which is really a challenge for these ones. For the peaceful, they avoid making tough decisions. So for them, when they are unwell, they have to make some decisions. And what they can do is they can sometimes escape into watching TV and reading, just escaping because they're left holding the bag. And for the powerful, they're such independent people. And their greatest fear is loss of job and sickness. So to be sick is just something that they don't do that well. So let's put some flesh around this by just creating a scenario on Christmas Day. Right after lunch, we've had too much pavlova. Oh, that's right, we don't eat sugar, do we? Too much pavlova. The playfuls will say straight after lunch, come on out everybody, bring your drink, come out to the garden. While the precise has got an attitude because nobody's helping in the kitchen because they have to finish the task before they can go and enjoy. They love to have fun, but they have to finish the task first. While the peaceful are having a nod off. They like a little bit of a nap after. That rest is their reward. They're not lazy, but they do love to have a little lie down. And the powerful, what do? They find a cricket bat and they say, come on everybody, march to my drum, let's go down to the park. So can you imagine, if you're unwell and you've got all these people trying to organise you, the dynamics is quite challenging on Christmas Day. But if you can be aware, it's about awareness. This tool is just an awareness tool. Different but not wrong, just different. Not our differences that divide us, it's our inability to champion and celebrate our differences. And if you can sit back and look at these people around your table, you'll find it's going to be helpful if you know what they need. Because all I've done is categorize, and that was not my intent tonight. The intent is, what do people need? Thank you. I say in my book, treat others as they want to be treated, not as you. Look, we all have wants and we all have needs. Sorry, I've said that wrong. Treat others as they need to be treated, not as you do. So we all have wants and we all have needs, but it's needs we cannot live without. And this is your key learning tonight. The 4 types have different needs. And this is up there with oxygen. Playfuls get out of bed for this. Attention, affection, approval, and acceptance. The precise, they get out of bed for this. Space, silence, sensitivity, and support. The powerful get out for credit and appreciation, and they demand loyalty. And what does the peaceful get out of bed for? They get out of bed for respect and loyalty and no conflict. So you see, what do we need to give each other? For the playfuls, they need colour in their world. That's so vital to them. So through attention, affection, approval, go and see them. Bring some joy into their lives because that's what they crave. They need that when they're unwell. For the precise, they need alone time. Alone time. That's what they need more than anything else. So allow people just to pull away the precises. They get their energy from being alone. They need to be able to talk about it and never ask a precise, what's wrong, or what's wrong? It's better to say to them, I think there's something going on here. Would you like to speak about it? Never kind of ask them because they want you to assume and they want you to know enough about them that you might know what's going on inside, if that sounds right. The powerful, they want to take charge. And so allow them to make decisions. That's what they want in the day. If you just take that from them, they won't enjoy that at all. And for the peacefuls, give them time to make decisions. That is so vital for them. They need to process it. They need to sleep on decisions. They don't want to make decisions immediately. So in planning the day, give these people days to process things, and you will get so much more from them. Okay. And as we come to an end, I love this statement. You'll never know till you try to reach people how accessible they are, but you must approach everyone by the right door. So tonight, I hope I've given you some insight into how you can reach into others. And let's hope that you can communicate to those people around you that they might really help and support you the way that you need to be supported. Thank you. And it's such a pleasure to be here tonight, to hear Natasha's story and also Jane.
Great, thanks Ali, so much to think about there. I'm sure we'll all be processing that for a while. Now we're going to hear from Jane Tucson. She's an experienced psychotherapist here in Auckland, and she has some words of wisdom for us about coping with the added pressure of Christmas when you're feeling vulnerable and maybe expectations are high. Jane, tell us what we need to know.
Hi everybody, it's great to be here tonight. So I'm going to be talking to you about emotions at Christmas time, and I only have a short time to talk about it. So I'll try and keep this as practical as possible, and I hope there's some nuggets in this for you. I was just thinking today that I think I'd start prepping for my Christmas week by getting enough sleep. Seriously, if you can do this, I think it will help you a great deal, because sleep, of course, when we don't get enough of it, can make us feel a little crazy. And I think whether cancer is in the frame or not, experience tells me that emotions can run pretty high at Christmas time. It's a time of year where family roles tend to get a little bit exacerbated. So my observation is that, the bossy ones get bossier, and the playful ones get more playful, and everything's sort of a little bit on steroids, and ones that shirt tend to shirt even more. So I think being aware of this and how you might want to respond to them is a really good idea, and certainly using some of Ali's tips, I think would be great. I know one of the things that can really derail me are my expectations at Christmas time, and often because I've found myself in situations where I didn't even realise I had expectations. They can, and I get disappointed when they're not met. So, I was thinking, well, the expectations are often informed by tradition, media, religion, culture, all sorts of things play into that. And I think if you can just stop and take some time for yourself and to write down what you think yours might be this Christmas, then it might just help you create some space within yourself to figure out how you want to respond. For example, it might be, I expect that all the kids will be at home for Christmas, or I expect that someone will have an argument, or if you're gay, you might expect that somebody makes a homophobic remark, or that nobody thinks to ask you about your relationship. Or somebody might make an awkward remark about your diagnosis, and you'll feel the need to respond to them in a way that makes them feel better. So these are all kind of expectations we may have, either consciously or unconsciously. So have a good look at your list, and then think about your response, and then ask the question, will this response help me, or is it more likely to harm me or others? I think that's kind of a good question to ask yourself. I think, you know, if you're a perfectionist, then Christmas Day is a really good time for that part of you to go on annual leave. You know, the bonuses are big if you can, and I know what a big ask that is. If you're an anxious person, you might want to do what I call creating a circle of control or circle of influence. And this is quite a good exercise where you write down all the things that are bothering you in the circle, or things that are kind of consuming you. And then you look at it, and then you take out of that inner circle the things that you can influence, or you can't influence, sorry, all the things you have no control over. So you get them out of the picture, because they can take up a lot of emotional bandwidth for us. We can spend a lot of time thinking about things that we actually have no control over. So, and I think by writing it down, it can really help. In fact, it's been shown that writing things down and using lists, which is a really good idea, can lower the cortisol and adrenaline that our bodies produce, which are our stress hormones. So I really recommend you do that. The other thing too is, I was thinking about the Instagram effect, where we kind of we have this idea that everybody's life is perfect, and that, you know, we get into this thing that I call compare and despair, where we project, you know, all these things onto other people's lives, like, oh, they've got more than we have, or you know, their life is perfect, their marriage is perfect, their kids are perfect. I don't know, we can do some crazy things to ourselves, but try and avoid that, because I think it's really, you know, it's very distressing. I also think it's a good idea to remember that struggle is a normal part of our lives, and sometimes I think we forget that. I think it's a good idea to think about how you are when you're emotional. How do you feel when you're overwhelmed? How, you know, what do you do when you're angry or exhausted? You know, do you get shouty? Do you get weepy? Do you tend to isolate? I think thinking about those things are a good idea. For example, I know that I cry when I'm angry and sad. And, you know, it's interesting because I think that can be interpreted, you know, by people quite differently. And, like, my family tend to go to hug me if I'm crying, but actually a hug is the last thing I want if I'm angry. So I think knowing about how you respond when you're feeling these things, and being able to name it and tell, you know, people that care about you is a really good idea. Say, look, you know, I'm likely to be more emotional this Christmas, and this is what I'll need. You know, I will need some space, or I'd like you to do jobs for me, or I want to cuddle, whatever it is. Figuring out what the emotion is and naming it is called name it to tame it. And it's been proven to work that if we can name these things, it can make a huge difference. Of course, not everyone is with family at this time of year. That can be by choice or by circumstance. And you might be in a situation where you have to support yourself. And I would recommend, if you are, that you strategize around how might you nourish yourself. You know, even though you're alone, you know, how do you make this day or this time of year good for you? You know, like, so you take a walk on the beach, you get some great magazines and curl up on the bed and read them, or, you know, do you take a dog for a walk? I don't know, whatever it is, but think of what you need, actually. It's really important. So emotional overwhelm, well, most of us are familiar with that. I certainly am.
In these situations, I think your best friend is your breath, actually. There's lots of science to support the fact that our breath is a fantastic tool for lowering cortisol and adrenaline. And you only really need to take 4 deep breaths consecutively to make a difference with this. So I've put in an exercise that you can just run through on the website, and you'll be able to refer to that and give that a go. It really helps. Boundaries are important. I think we've kind of talked a little bit about that already this evening, but they can help us manage our emotional world. I'm tainted with a little bit of pleaser's disease, and I know sometimes it feels worse to let people down than to acknowledge what my needs are, but I know that that's not always the best idea because I can end up feeling very resentful and a bit toxic. So, I think if you can think about that, then there's some short-term pain for long-term gain. So give yourself permission to say yes, please, and no thanks. I think saying these things are a really good idea. It might be no thanks to hanging around at functions that you don't want to be at, or no thanks to having relatives to stay when you're not up for it, or yes, please, I'd love you to host the family this year. Yes, please, to being with people that might accept your sexual identity or other aspects of who you are. Yes, please, I'd like to sleep out, not the tent. So think about what you might want to say yes, please, or no thanks to. Mindfulness, a lot of people know about mindfulness, I know, and it's very popular at the moment for a very good reason. In fact, it's the go-to treatment for the NHS in the UK of anxiety and depression. It's so effective. So if you can learn a little bit about mindfulness, then I really recommend it. I've put some exercises again on the website that you can have a look at, and I feel like most people think, oh gosh, that means I've got to do 20 minutes of meditation in the morning. Actually, no. Like I can drive to work and I can be late, I'm ashamed to say, but and I will practice mindfulness in my car, and that might be simple things, holding the steering wheel and actually describing it to myself in my mind. So it's all about non-judgmentally being in the moment and paying attention to the moment, not in the past or the future, but really grounding yourself in the present. There's some good apps actually around mindfulness, like Headspace, or there's one called Calm. So there's some really good online things you can access if you want to. So when I was thinking about emotions, I spoke to friends and family and clients who were going, had cancer and who were sort of managing their emotions, and they said that, it's good to talk about the difficult emotions that you might experience. Of course, Christmas is full of lots of positive things, but it's not usually the positive stuff that sinks our ship on the day. It's the more difficult stuff. So the people I spoke to mentioned that fear was often, in the picture quite a lot. It's staring into the unknown. It's not knowing what your future will look like. For some, it was, thinking, is this my last Christmas? What if my treatment doesn't work? How do I not freak my children out with all these fears? Some spoke about grief, feeling grief in ways that they hadn't expected, grief that you were in a position that you never expected to be in, grief that your body has let you down, or that you hadn't done something that you wished you had. Guilt can also be there, and that's a very complicated emotion. I think you might feel guilty that you've got cancer and the impact it's having on other people, or you might unconsciously believe that you brought this on yourself. Anger, that anger that no one really understands how you feel, anger that people insist on telling you their cancer stories and giving you advice on how to manage it. Anger that no one asks you about your cancer, maybe. It could be a lot of things. Another one they mentioned was disappointment, that maybe the one person that you thought would be your rock to all of this has disappointed you in some way, or they can't be there for you, and that can bring up a lot of things, I think. So, tricky feelings, but I guess I just want to say that these are normal, and it's not unusual to feel these things.
if you can, think about what soothes you. You know, think about, is it quality time with a loved one? Grounding yourself in nature, having a swim. Don't be afraid to ask for it this year. Again, I reckon most of you probably know this, but try and remember that alcohol and drugs are really tempting soothers, but they're not our best mates in the long run. They're pretty good at turning a bad situation into more of a cluster. So watch out for them as coping strategies. Or you may be around people that use drugs and alcohol negatively, and this is really, really challenging. So if you can put some space between you and those people and take care of yourself, because it can use up a lot of precious emotional energy. Remember, most things do pass, and I think when you're in the thick of something, it's hard to remember that, but no, it's true. It's a truism. So just in summary, do things mindfully, watch your expectations, ask for what you need, name your emotions if you can, remember to breathe, choose carefully what you want to focus on and ask, you know, is this response helping me or harming me? And remember, you don't have to solve things today. That, you know, you can take a rest from solving things. Much of this, I know, is much easier said than done sometimes, but even if you can just do one small thing compassionately, then that would be great. Anyway, I hope you have a fabulous Christmas. So go gently. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much for those gems, Jane, and thank you to all three of you. You've been wonderful. We're now going to open up to questions from you guys at home. If you have anything you'd like to ask, you can type your question in the chat box, and we'll throw that out to the panel. And while you're sort of thinking about that, we've got a couple of questions already that we will talk about here. So the first one is, and perhaps Ali and Jane could divvy this up between them. I don't want to deal with my in-laws this year. What should I do?
Breathe. She doesn't want to deal with them, or does she want them in her home, or she doesn't want to have them around her?
Just doesn't want to deal with them. So I guess it's a question of, do you not deal with them, or do you find a way of actually dealing with them? So both of you could probably come up with some thoughts there.
You have one to do.
Well, I think the courageous conversation needs to be out and shared and vetted with the husband, and just saying, you know, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now about Christmas, and they're difficult for me. I don't think I can cope. I need you to sort of be supportive of what I'm feeling right now. So I think it comes back to what I'm feeling, and could you help me here? But the reality is you have in-laws, and they're not going to go away. But, you know, for this time, it's tough for you. Maybe it's a matter of just being open and really being honest, but not with them so much. I think they could interpret that as something really difficult. But maybe the son might have a better way of approaching them and just saying to them, look, you know, we're fragile at the moment. It's not the norm for us right now. And I think the courageous conversation just has to happen.
Well, to be honest, I think it's a really complex one, because there's many ramifications that may actually lead to more stress down the track. But I suppose I initially thought, well, there's no better time to ask for what you need than when you're trying to manage, you know, a very tender time in your life. And so there's a part of me thinking, yeah, if it can be negotiated, and yeah, I always think of, you know, I look at the dialectic. It's either have them there or don't have them there, but there's a whole lot of space in between. And can something be negotiated in that middle ground? Like maybe, you know, they get to come over and, you know, you have a rest and that's negotiated, and they're told that this is going to happen, and you don't, you know, that's legitimate. Or it might be that your husband or partner, whoever it is, goes and meets with them, and you make space in the day for that to happen. You know, like, I don't know, like, I think there's a lot of space in between.
What I'm interested in is what you are in your personality, and I wonder whether you've figured that out just in that little talk, because if you're peaceful and you've got a very strong powerful in your life that's an in-law, or a precise that's probably wanting to come in and fix it and do things around the place where you feel overwhelmed by that. I think the dynamics of personality can definitely come into play there. So I think it's being mindful about that as well.
And hopefully we've had some good tips from your talk there, Ali, on that. And those slides will be online in a couple of days' time, so you don't have to remember it till Christmas. You can come back and have another look. Next question, how do I downscale on gifts? I've been hit financially due to treatment and time off work. I've got any thoughts there? So I guess that's about setting that expectation as well as the actual.
Well, my sister actually, she's just become a pensioner, and she's always been very lavish in terms of Christmas gifts, and she's just told everybody, I'm giving a goat through World Vision, and this is what Christmas is all about. And so she's kind of done it that way, is just saying, look, I'm looking outside my house rather than in. I think for little children, the wonder of Christmas is all about gifts and that, but I think there is a little bit of a over-consumerized society that we have that has a tendency to lavish. I think it's honesty as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think being honest and being upfront and talking about it, your reasons, and it's hard sometimes to keep shame or guilt out of that picture, but I think it's a very legitimate thing to scale back. And
actually, when you are unwell, I'm sure for you, Natasha, you've redefined your life, what's important. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to say, listen, we've been doing some looking at our own lives. Life's precious, and we realise that we're not in this position anymore. I think you could be really honest. This is a perfect time to be able to address those things. Definitely. Yeah.
I mean, it's not, kids love presents, but you actually find that the presents that the kids love the most are the ones you got from the $2 shop. It's about, you could go and spend $10 at the $2 shop and wrap each present up individually, and it's just that look and that excitement of opening something. It doesn't have to be $100. It's the thought behind it. I love homemade cards, so my son says, what do you want for Christmas? Like, I just want a card. And if that card comes with a poem or just beautiful words, that's enough for me.
Natasha is a precise, because they love the written word. I can just see that so. Would I be right, Natasha? Maybe. Yeah, written words, and that's true. The love language too. If we could just bring that in, because people want to be loved different ways, and there's words, there's touch, and there's acts of service. My husband doesn't want gifts. He just wants me to go maybe and do stuff with him around the house. So it's again acknowledging the way that we need to be loved as well.
Okay, we've got a question here. I'm waiting for a breast clinic appointment in the new year after finding a lump, and I'm worried. How do I stay calm over Christmas? And I think the same would go for someone who maybe has a biopsy just before Christmas, which people seem to do rather often.
Weight is just so hard. The weight is the hardest thing. I think finding out that you have cancer is not good either, but waiting is just so hard. So it's finding something that makes you feel better. And for me, if I was having a terrible day, I was feeling terrible, my body was aching, I just couldn't stop crying. Going for a walk, whether it was 5 minutes around the block, or getting somebody to take you to the beach and sitting on the wall and just looking out to the sea. Water is just so therapeutic. You just have to find one thing that helps you, and surround yourself with people that enrich your life, not people that pull you down or make your stress worse or are negative. You just need to take time for you and just spoil yourself. But spoiling yourself is just going for a walk. It doesn't cost any money. That would be my way of getting through.
I think that's just brilliant advice. I mean, and you know better than anybody, but I think that, I think finding that one thing that nourishes you, because there's going to be, there's going to be lots of stinky thinking necessarily, and it might be catching up with a friend, coffee, or something that kind of gives you reprieve. And what you said tonight, Jane, you know, just even breathing when those thoughts come, because it's our mind that's, you know, breathing is our best friend, our mind is too, because we can go to that place, even without cancer, we can go to those places where we don't like. So it's taking charge of the mind, the thoughts that we have as well. And, you know, maybe sometimes I've had to do that. Stop, Ali, we're not going to go there. I have to talk to myself. So that could be a possibility too, couldn't it? It's just that breathing, but also thinking about how do we guard our mind from going to the worst case scenario. And let me tell you, some personalities can go there more than others. Powerful swimmers, they're going to get fixed tomorrow and we'll just wait, bring it on, you know. So there is different personalities that respond and react differently to that kind of thought pattern. The playful, the eternal optimist. Oh, tomorrow, no, it's going to be okay, you know, and they live in that Pollyanna mindset sometimes, and they can come down crashing because they don't like to think about anything that's the worst case scenario.
And you can't control what the outcome's going to be, and thinking of it, and I did, and I have done the same, that you find a pain, you think, oh gosh, is this it? And it is waiting for that appointment, but you can't do anything about it. You can't make it happen faster. It's just have to go, okay, I've got an appointment in 3 weeks' time. Let's just park that as much as we can and move on, because it's not going to change. You're still going to have your pain, and the worry will just eat you, and it's not good for you. Stress is not good for you, and it will take its toll. So if you can park it, acknowledge it. Acknowledge that, yes, you have the worry, and, you know, talk to somebody about it. Always find one person to talk to, someone that doesn't judge, someone that understands, but just try and park it and just enjoy that time and deal with it once you get to the appointment.
And Jane, I guess that feeds into your circle of control. And
it's a great time to maybe do that exercises. There's so much you can't control, and I think that's just, you know, you want to recognise that, you know, what can you influence or control, and have that in the inner circle, and actually you can be quite creative with that. So there might be some things that, you know, like if you're going into treatment, I mean, I feel a bit uncomfortable talking about this because it's, you know, like I guess it's different for everybody, but maybe there are things you can do to prepare yourself. You know, it might be clean your linen cupboard, or, you know, I don't know, do something that you can, that might soothe you in some way or distract you, and then acknowledge the things that you just can't control, you know, and try and let the rope out a little bit on those things. But again, I'm sure it's not that easy. You know.
And a question for Natasha: has Christmas changed for you since your diagnosis?
Yeah, I definitely think it has. It does put a lot of stuff into perspective, and in-laws is a good one for me because I don't find my in-laws always easy. My mother-in-law sometimes says things without thinking, and although she probably doesn't mean anything by it, they upset me. So I sort of removed myself from that situation, and it wasn't that we didn't see them at all, but, you know, it was good to just do what I wanted to do. It was kind of a one time that you could actually go, okay, I'm going to be selfish, and this is going to be how I'd like to do Christmas this year. And as I said, you know, I learned to delegate, and I am not good at taking people's help. So it's made me go, okay, actually, don't need to go and spend lots of money on presents. It's just seeing the kids' faces. I mean, they're happy with Christmas stockings with an apple and some fizzy drink and some chips and lollies. You know, it's about being together. It really, yeah, for me it was about being together, and I've got back into taking photos and printing them, because we take so many photos and we don't do anything with them, and you just want to create memories while you can. So yeah, key from that one is just make it your day. It's one chance in your life that you can actually be selfish. You deserve it.
Which is almost a preemptive answer to our next question about feeling guilty
easy answer to that one, actually, because I feel like lots of things lead us to that point, you know, like lots of beliefs and values around who we should be in the world. And so I haven't got, if I'm honest, one tip, except that, you know, I think to speak to Natasha's point that you probably never have such a good reason to let yourself off the hook, you know, and I feel like grab it, you know. You can do guilt at the time, you know, like it will still be there, you know, like, but maybe this year really give yourself permission to go, nah, not doing it. You know? So that would be my response.
Ali, do you think one personality type is more likely to feel guilty than the other?
Well, I think the precise has a perfectionist mindset, and so they want things perfect, and when it's not, they feel overwhelmed by that, so the guilt can come, you know, they can allow the guilt to come, but you know, you come to my house, I'm a playful, and my lounge is perfect. You'll never see anything bad because I don't want anyone criticising me. Playfuls wilt under criticism and poor reviews. But you go to my, and you said it tonight, the linen cupboard, that needs to be addressed because I hide everything in there. So, you know, I can do the guilt too, but my front lounge, it's got to be perfect the whole time because then nobody's going to criticise me. So I think every personality has a guilt thread in them. You know, powerfuls probably don't. My daughter, nah. It is what it is.
Right. Now, you mentioned that you don't need to spend 20 minutes being mindful, Jane, but how long do you need to spend?
Look, I'm not great at sitting for 20 minutes, if I'm honest. So I've really struggled with this, but I personally feel the benefits of doing, you know, a couple of minutes, or sometimes it's just paying attention, like, you know, like, I'll often end a session with a client going, can I just invite you to scan your body for a minute? You know, like, and they literally go, they go from head to toe, and what are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? And so it's paying attention, you know, and that to me is being mindful. It's, you know, like that's bringing your attention to the present moment and trying to suspend judgment. That's, I think, really critical about this. You know, it's not going, oh, my shoulders are tight and I should do something about that. It's like, how tight my shoulders are. So you can grab these moments of mindfulness. Sometimes I'll sit with just a squeegee ball, you know, that you know, push ball, stress ball, you know, like, and I'll sit and I'll do that for about a minute, squeezing it, and then really noticing the sensation as it puffs back out in my hand. And I'll do that, you know, between clients sometimes maybe, you know, 20 times. Pay attention, trying to go slowly, and really paying attention to the sensation. So you would be amazed at how effective that is at just lowering stress levels. I know it's probably hard to believe.
I think that breathing is a real key too. Just sometimes I just take 4 deep breaths and I really in my gut area. And it's just transformational for me. Just in the car, let my stomach go right out, nobody can see it. And I have been doing, you know, you wake up in the morning when you've got kids, it's just busy from the minute you're out. So I find now I just wake up, I lie in bed for a minute, which is not really much in the big scheme of it, and just sort of relax for that minute and then kind of get up and do the stuff. So you've sort of given yourself that time to just go, okay, yep, today's Tuesday, we've got cricket, netball, basketball, and just getting your mindset right, and then going and having a shower. And I find that's really, really, really helpful.
Great. Now, one of our watchers, Linda, has added some of her own tips. Thank you, Linda. But she says, I found it was helpful for me to bring up my health instead of waiting for them to ask questions. Very important to say no when necessary, and many of us are not good at this. It gets easier after the first no.
Agree.
Right.
Yeah. So good. We all feel that we have to justify the no and then just take the big breath without feeling like the justification has to come why you said no. I think we're in a society that we feel that we have to do that a lot.
That takes a lot of
self-control.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, and that idea of speaking up to yourself about your health before waiting for start. I guess that deals with the worry about what people are going to say or what they're thinking. Yep.
And I think, you know, when you're going through cancer, you don't always look sick. You know, I've got still terrible nausea and body pain, but to people sitting here probably have no idea that I've had cancer. So you do have to remind people that if you're not feeling good, to say you're not feeling good, you know, because they don't know, they won't understand. So, yeah, just being honest and open is sometimes a little bit harsh, but it actually feels so much better once you've just said, actually, no, I don't feel like doing that because I'm feeling really rubbish, and actually all I want to do is go and lie down and walk off. I mean, they're the ones that have to deal with you know, they're probably the ones that end up being guilty because they thought that you were fine and could do everything that you used to do. So it's good to be honest.
All my friends, because we're at another age level, they bring up the charts. This is what's wrong with me. You know, the first 15 minutes is like this aches and pains. It's really crazy. Maybe we could take some help from the old people.
Yeah.
The first 15 minutes, that's all you hear. I'll never be like that, but I think I've become like that.
Yeah. I think that's all our questions. Do we have anything else, Molly? That's great. Okay, so that means time's up tonight. Thank you all for joining us, and thanks again to Natasha, Ellie and Jane. You've all been fantastic. We hope you found this helpful, and we'd appreciate if you could just take a moment to fill in the feedback as you exit the webinar. If you have any questions following this webinar or about anything breast cancer related, our nurses are available to take your calls on our 0800 BC nurse line during office hours. In the next few days, we'll email you with a link to the recording and a link to some of those apps and tools that Jane mentioned, which you'll also find on the webinar page of our website. If you'd like to watch the webinar again, of course you can, and feel free to forward the link on to anyone else. Thank you again for